recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you are listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable Podcast. This is podcast number 707. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today, I have my favorite co-host, Corey Romero. Today's Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. Corey, how are you doing today?
Eric, I'm doing well. I'm trying to get adjusted back to the time zone from Barcelona.
As we all are. That was quite a show, I got to say. We're all back, but it was a lot of fun seeing everybody in Europe, and so excited to be back and working on 2025 plans. So
absolutely.
It was great. And man, everybody was there. Everybody got a McLaren shirt. Everybody stood around. Everybody got to listen to the sessions with and the overflow had the disco headsets, so you could hear the audio well. So it was great.
Yeah, and the vibe was just great. It was the best vibe I think I felt at any of our shows. The energy.
We had kind of an all hands with our group today, bigger group in marketing, not just our team, but everybody. And I said it, and I was legitimately saying, I think it was the best Explorer I'd ever been to from a standpoint of community, right? We've had better Explorers when it comes to parties and the ball games and the racetrack and all those way back when. But as far as energy, and just great sessions and lots of things going on. It was the beast, and I didn't pick up COVID, so we got that going for us, right?
I completely agree, right? Like everybody was excited. All I heard was positive things. It was great energy at the show for sure.
Yeah, it was. Well, on the show today, we're going to be talking about the major announcement we made, which has got a lot of people talking on Slack and Reddit and Discord and everything else, which is the VCF free licenses program that VMUG Advantage is moving to. And so we'll talk about that and talk about, I'll let you do the announcements for vExperts, but we'll talk about the whole thing, how, what it is, why we did it this way, and get a little bit of the backstory of what we're doing there. And I think it's all good in the end. It's just that, there's a lot of people, maybe 10% of the people are going, oh, how is this going to work for me? I have to do a VCP certification now, and, it's going to be more money. And there's a lot of, fear and certainty that certainly goes around whenever we make any kind of program changes, right? And this is no different. I think it's actually better for everybody when we get down through the details of it. But we'll talk about the program, and then we'll go from there. So before we get to that, the news. What is in the news? Well, there was a VMUG chapter meeting that I forget where it was now, but it was today. Brad Thompkins is there. I just got done talking to him. I want to say Cincinnati, but I could be wrong on that one. But I think he was.
I believe it is Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think it is. So, we're still going on. I think there's one more UserCon that's going to be happening this year, and then we're going to be sliding into the holiday season and working on our 2025 plans. So, but that's been happening. We've already announced Explore Vegas, so that we know we're doing a Explore Vegas, and I know there's going to be more Explore stuff, but they haven't really talked about it yet. So we're going to wait for 2025 plans to be announced, which I got to assume will be announced sometime in early next year. And it should be fun, should be exciting. Looking forward to all of it in Europe and APJ and then Vegas as well, and in the US. So yeah, good news there. In the news, rest of the news, I don't know if there is any news. I should ask Tony Foster if he knows any other news out there. I know Tony's been quietly sitting on TalkShoe, but any news, Tony? Yeah, it's going to going into this quiet season. We're all just congratulating ourselves and trying to get over the jet lag. So it is good.
I think Cincinnati was last week. Today is Nashville.
Oh,
Nashville UserCon.
Brad was there, right?
Yeah.
He works the VMUG org works out of Nashville, so that makes sense. But yeah, it's coming into the quiet, the season where we go into the holidays, and we're all going to probably take working on plans, and then go into the Christmas break. I would say that pretty happy that budgets look really good for next year, so that's also good. Hawk is a man to his word. I think there will be additional budget. So That is not a given thing for some of the programs at Broadcom when they take over companies, but in this case, Hawk has been super exciting. So before we jump into the VCP, free VCP, maybe we should just do a recap of Explore, right? So one thing that we did is, we talked about the booth. I think we have 4,500 scans, engagements at the booth. So
Nice.
given that there was only 5,000 people at the show, right? Now those aren't unique. Those are doubling up. We have 3 different areas that you can engage with us. So, or maybe even 4. So, those are doubled up, counted. So
Right.
it's not like, but it was crowded. It was just crowded the whole time. I think we gave away over 1,000 McLaren shirts,
Easily.
which was great. We didn't you had to earn them, right? You had to go do stuff, and we had people running around getting those guys. So over 1,000 of those engagements. We had, I think, 1,500 people, butts and seats for the community sessions, right? Which was also very good. And then the code sessions, I don't think I know the number off the top of my head on the code sessions, but the theaters were busy. We had 40 seats per theater. And then there was people standing around with the headsets on, listening to the audio. And I got to say the headsets were fantastic. There were people that were wearing headsets that were sitting in the theater, because it's, especially if you have somebody that's in Europe, their English is a little bit tricky, then having that headset on where you can hear them very clearly made all the difference in the world. I listened to a couple sessions like that where I was struggling to understand exactly what they were talking about, and I put the headsets on, and it's like immediately piped right into my brain. So excited about that. We're going to do that in the future. We'll do that every show from now on, right?
Yeah, that was a good idea. That was a really good idea. It worked really well.
Yeah, and if you know those silent the silent dance headsets, you've seen them around. They're like glow, a different color. Yeah. So we had green ones for the community sessions and blue ones for the code sessions, and people were wearing them if they needed to wear them. And that's the first time we've ever done that. So that was good. So excited about that. We had ChatGPT labs. That was fun. I got really good at presenting, how to use ChatGPT to write PowerShell, which was fantastic. It was better than the Vegas one because, I learned some. I improved the labs a little bit. So we had a lot of fun with the code labs. We had the hackathon. The hackathon was a nice venue. I think we only had 50 or 60 people there. I think that was under marketed. So we'll do some work on that next year. Right. But that's good. The community sessions were live streamed, and they are on community.vmware.com. No, not community, community.broadcom.com, not VMware, community.broadcom.com. There's an events tab. And if you click on the events tab on community.broadcom.com, you can, you'll see VMware Explorer, and you can go to there, and there's a page, and all the community sessions were recorded, live streamed, as well as recorded and put on the community website for Broadcom.
How cool is that? I did not know that.
Yeah, we built a whole page for it. It's really quite nice, right? It's one of the nicest pages.
Yeah, this is really cool. Yeah. I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah, we did that for Vegas as well, so that people wanted to come, watch the community sessions. Just go to community.broadcom.com. And the guy, Jason McLaren, who runs the platform, was really great. I got to do a shout out to Jason McLaren if you ever run into this guy. He runs the platform for Broadcom. And, originally when we got started, everybody was standoffish. They were like, yeah, we shut everybody down. We acquire you and we shut everybody down and we do everything. But you know what happened? By the time Jason started working with us, and then 6-7 months later, he's like, wow, you guys have a lot of energy. You guys have a lot of cool stuff. Next thing you know, he's an advocate for us. And next thing you know, he's building those pages, right? And so we had really nice live stream pages on community.broadcom.com, and they're letting us keep the VMTN brand. So we're building a VMTN landing page on that now, so that everything is kind of just re-rescuing. I put my fire hat on, and here we go.
That's great to hear.
Got another one. So and I think they kind of get it now. They're like, wow, this was not what we were used to, right? And and they want to be a part of it, and they're helping us, and they're part of the team now. So it's us, which is great.
I did a session with Noel and Michael Roy. So Noel Guerrero and Michael Roy on how to be an enterprise influencer. It was the room was almost full. It was great. The feedback we got, I think that it was 4.76 was the feedback score. which
Nice.
which
Yeah.
was nice. It was great. Yeah, got a
Yeah.
lot of good
Yeah.
feedback from
It
it.
was, it was a
So
good show. Yeah.
yeah, a great show,
Yeah.
amazing show. Absolutely loved it.
And a lot of new people as well. Like, the old crowd was around,
Yeah.
right? Some of the old crowd has disappeared. There's no question about that. There were faces
Hmm.
missing, right? Now, as we're all getting older too, so some of the older guys are retired, right?
Yeah.
So, like, got to say that 15 years later, there's some of the older guys are gone off and they're living in Hawaii now or somewhere in the Caribbean or whatever they're doing. But there was a lot of new faces as well. A lot of mixed faces. That's what I would say. It's no
Yeah.
longer, I feel like it's a very diverse community now, which is really neat. And they're all great people and they're fun to
Absolutely.
engage with. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
I think part of that was also we were in the expo, right? So the hang space where we are normally versus being in
Mm,
the expo, we
mhm.
haven't been in the expo since 2008. Right. So
Yeah.
I think different people hang out in the expo. And so we got to expose communities to this new crowd
Yes.
also,
Yeah.
right?
I knew. Yeah.
Which was great.
That was great. And if we look at the VMUG scans in Vegas where we were in the hang space, they got like 150 scans on the VMUG
Yeah.
scanner, because we have VMUG as part of our booth now.
Hmm.
In the expo where we were in Barcelona, they had 750 scans,
Wow.
right? So, quite a bit more.
Yeah,
So
big difference.
yeah, so
Big
it was
difference.
good. We take a note of that. We took note of the headset, and we take note of the fact that it's fun to be in the
Expo.
expo. I was
Mhm.
thinking
I
explore.
think that's the
Fun to
right
be.
place to be.
I
Absolutely.
actually think it is. I think I'm gonna lobby for going back there because
Hmm.
also all the other booth people are also creating vibes and there's theater stuff's going on and there's people learning and like I feel like that's where the energy was and we brought a lot of energy to it, no question. So we both fed on each other. The vendors and us all
Hmm.
contributed to that. So but
Absolutely.
that was good. The hackathon was great, but again, small, so we have to work on that. The leadership party, I think we had over 100 VMUG leaders come to the leadership party, which was great. And then I went to the V Rockstar party because we helped fund that this year. We gave them, I think, 10K to make sure that we had a V Rockstar party, which we did, which was great because we got the feedback from Vegas that there just wasn't enough to do in the evenings. So we made sure we funded those guys. I don't know their names. Pete or Peter.
Patrick Redknapp, and
Yeah.
I forget the other guy off
Yeah.
the top of my head right now.
Anyway, we funded them and they also got a couple more sponsorships because we helped them get going. And then they said VMware's going to sponsor it then.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was perfect. It was crowded, but not overcrowded. And then we drank, chatted with everybody and they had food and it was sometimes the Rockstar party, there's no place to sit and it's just crazy. You got to stand up and it's like you get to the bar, you got to shuffle through 300 people to get over to a bar just to get a drink. This was not the case. This was more like the leadership party. There was like 100, 200 people in there, but there was chairs and tables and places to sit down and, bar stools and things. So we had a good time. And
Nice.
so that was
Nice.
good. And then, all the sessions were consumed. That was good. Great content. So that's what I'd say happened in Barcelona. One of the better shows, I think in the top best show I've ever been in from a community perspective, right? Everybody was booming. And vSphere 9 has created buzz now. So, that's all happening. We got announced, the vExpert got announced on the keynote.
Yep.
Joe Bagley did a kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke. When am I going to get to be a vExpert? Right? We should invite him this. We should do it in January. We should just give him an
Yes.
honorary
Yes.
vExpert, so we don't have to listen to that. Or
I have that as a note.
follow up as a joke. Like he was like, I've never been a vExpert, and
Yep.
I'll probably retire, and they'll finally give me a vExpert award. I'm like, well, Joe, you got to apply. Does require an application. So, all right. So that's the summary of no. So last thing is on the keynote, we then announced the VCF free license program. So this in the 18 years I've worked at VMware, I've never had anything on our programs or community or anything ever announced on the big on this keynote stage. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty impressive. Now, at the same time, there wasn't a lot. We have less products now, right? We don't have EUC anymore, and we don't have blockchain, and so we just have VCF. So I think, in all fairness, they were looking for cool things to talk about. So I think that was a way we got on the keynote. But at the same time, they Hawk came
They
out, and
understand it,
VMUG, and
community.
VExpert was on the big screen when he came across, and then Joe Bagley talked about community and VExperts and VMUG and leaders and that. And then in the show later, he said, okay, VMUG Advantage is going to now have free VCF, and all you have to do is get your VCP. In fact, I think he mentioned you got your VCP-VCF. So
yeah,
that was announced, and that was good, and we're excited about that. And what's actually happening there, Corey, and you know this because we're going to talk about VExperts and the licenses. They're getting rid of the whole licensing program that we've had for VMware. Is going away, right? I don't want to say anything too much about the technology they're using, but you can imagine that some of that's going away as well. There are changes that are under afoot, and they basically turned off our ability to get new keys, right? So our new key capability went away in May, right? So before May happened, me, Brad, and Gene Williams, and a couple other people, we went and ran enough keys to last for the rest of the year. So we had the guy who was the key runner, and we just said, dude, cut us enough keys,
I had to do
2,000 a month every month for the next, whatever's May. So that's like 7 more months. So give us 2,000 keys times 7, and then make them expire every month so that we could give new keys out every month. And we got those generated. And then, by June, that tool was, that system was gone, right? It was kind of like the flames. It just went away. And we got that in place, but then we had to work on building a new program that would get free licenses. And originally they just told us no. They were like, nope, we're not doing that. That's gone. We're not doing home lab licenses. Broadcom has no way of doing that. They don't do it. And good luck trying to get backups because their keys are embedded in the support system, right? And revenue generation, and the way they generate license keys or keys for our products is not the same. And you have to have a customer ID, you have to have a site ID, you have to be, somebody and they don't have you can't just give individuals licenses. They have a customer, and then you buy X number of licenses for that customer. And all the VMUG Advantage people, they're not customers. They also don't allow you to have Google Mail, right? So no Gmail accounts, no Yahoo email accounts, no, you had to be a corporate domain. So your email had to be your corporate domain that matches your corporate site ID for your company. And then you have to purchase licenses, right? And you get allocated your licenses based on your company ID. Well, none of this worked, right? So they were just like, this is never going to happen. You're not going to be able to do this. And eventually we figured out a way to do it. We figured out a way. And, but then the VCF organization goes, yeah, but we don't want to have 1 million free keys out here, right? Like, how do we make sure that people are running that aren't running this in production? So we had to work on that, right? And in the end, we also had to get Hawk to approve all this whole program, right, for licenses. What ended up happening is we really want everybody to be certified, right? So we want everybody to have a VCP certification, right? And we want people to have a VCP certification for VCF. Right?
And you should if you're running VCF.
Right. Like, and everybody does this for Microsoft, right? You go get your certifications. And so they were like, hey, the VCF license is a $20,000 license. So you want us to give away free $20,000 licenses, which, by the way, we can't really stop you from running in production, right? And if you go buy Advantage, you could go buy 5 Advantages and get 5 new VCF licenses. You could get $100,000 worth of product by just buying $1,000 worth of Advantage memberships, and there was no way to stop that. So we're like, 1, we want everybody to get certified. 2, we want to have a gate around not abusing this program. So that's what we built. We built a solution where if you get VMUG Advantage and you pass your VCP, you get a reward, right? And it is a reward. People ask me like, well, how do I get my VCP if I don't have my license for home lab? And I'm like, That's like saying, Mommy, I want my birthday cake before dinner, right? It's like, this is a reward program, right? It's not meant to teach you how to pass your VCP. You can go get training. They sell training for $2,000, right? You know, you can go, there's several different vendors that'll train you how to pass a VCP-VCF course. If you have a license, your enterprise has a license, you get free training. So we drop the training to zero cost, assuming you have a VCF license. So as long as you have a VCF license somewhere in your enterprise, you can go get free training. If you don't have VCF at all, your company hasn't bought a VCF license, I would argue, well, wait, because we're not going to have any other products, a year from now. There's going to be one product. It's called VCF.
Yeah.
So basically, if you haven't bought our one product, then okay, you might not be able to go get free training. But if you have bought our product, you can go get free training and get trained, and then go pass your VCP-VCF. The other thing is, we looked at how many hours does somebody have to study to pass the VCF, because everybody's like, oh, I got to go pass a test. How do I learn how to pass? Well, there are people that showed up at Explorer and took the VCF, the VCP-VCF, and passed it. Didn't do any studying at all, right? It's not that hard, right? And we did an assessment, and even if you didn't know anything and you wanted to learn, it's about 40 hours worth of material coverage that you would have to go learn. It'd take you about a week to learn enough to go pass your VCF cert. It's not a particularly hard cert. They wanted us to require everybody to get their VCAP. And so we pushed back, and literally I spent 2 weeks arguing with people to eventually get everybody to agree that you didn't need to get a VCAP, which are very, very specific, very hard to pass, right? So we talked them down to just a VCP-VCF, which is a brand new test. So there's only like 80 people that have even taken it. So there's like, this will align good. Nobody else has taken it yet. And then you'll learn. And then it's not that hard. So you should be able to do it, right? Without too much study. You can go get an HOL and, do an HOL on vSAN and on NSX. So you learn the basics. Most of us already know vSphere backward and forward. So honestly, you should, with a minimum effort, be able to go and pass that test. The second that we have VMUG doing is, hey, go build a Cliff Notes, right? Build a community training packet, right? So that you can go get your VMUG Advantage. With your VMUG Advantage, you get a VCP study guide. You get a little study guide. You go through it. It's like Cliff Notes. You learn what you need to learn. You go pass your test, right? And then we give you half price off on the test itself. So you do have to commit to $125, right? To get, but that's a 3-year license, right? So you only have to get your VCP certification every 3 years, which is like $39 if you divide 125 by 3. I think it's like $39 or something like that. Tony Foster, you can pop up your calculator and divide 125 by 3. But it's like $39 a year, right, for that test amortized over 3 years, which is like, okay, if you're really thinking about having a home lab, you're going to probably dump $500, maybe $750 on a decent machine to run it with a terabyte or 2 of memory, and then you're going to buy a network switch, and you're going to buy some storage. And so you're probably going to put $2,000 into your home lab over time. And therefore $125 over 3 years, that's $38. Tony, you're too slow. Where's my calculator?
And you're putting money back in to support VMUG in the community as well, right?
Tony's probably on a meeting. He's like,
what do you want? 125 divided by 3?
125 divided by 3 equals $41.
Yeah,
$41.66.
$41.
Yeah. Okay. So you got $41.66. All right. Not that I argued for free. I argued for no VCP certification, right? I was like, no, but that was shut down. And then we were talking about VCAP. I got it down to VCP. But then, 3-year license, that's great. Originally, they were just like, we're going to give you a 1-year license. And I argued it back up to 3 years. And so everybody looks like, now you do have to have a valid VMUG Advantage membership. So that was the other thing that we wanted to do, was make sure that you have a VMUG Advantage. And my take on VMUG Advantage is, if you want to be learning from the community and you want to support the community and be part of the community, and this is your career, you should be a VMUG Advantage member, right? It re-ups every year. You can get it on a 1-year subscription, and they just re-up, and it costs like $100, right? Or maybe it's no, what is it? Is it $100? Yeah, I think it's $105 if I remember right. And so I better check the price on that. Is it $205 or $105?
I'm looking it up right now.
VMUG Advantage, yeah. Price. Let me get that right. Otherwise,
$210 a year.
$210. Sorry, $210 a year. Yeah, I knew it wasn't 100. Sounded too cheap, right? Yeah. So you got $210, and you can get a discount code and probably pick it up for $190. That's supporting the community. What do you get from that? Well, you get a lot of stuff. You get VMUG user cons all across the world. You get VMUG at Explore. You get V Rockstar parties. We're all part of that community, right? So in a real sense, I used to give away my honey, right? I have bee hives, and I have like 5 bee hives, and I'd package up the honey and I'd put it in jars, and then I'd label it. And, I got this thing called Biatch honey, right? All female bees. And it's popular, right? In Palo Alto, where I live, people found out about it, and they were like, oh, could I have a jar? Could I have a jar? And yeah, we get a lot of jars, right? We give away jars. I give like 500 jars away a year, right? Well, yeah, jars cost like $2. So it's like a grand just to bottle up the honey, but it was fine. But then I realized that, what, I should probably put a price on this, like $10, right? Because the honey's really good, and it'll weed out all the people that are just taking free stuff from me.
Yeah, they just don't value it as
they don't value it, but it's like, oh, it's free, so I'll take it, right?
Right.
And they're not giving back, they're not helping me, they're just, so I put a price on it, and that did get rid of like 2/3 of all the people that just shown up saying want free honey. Well, I look at VMUG in a very similar circumstance. Like, you're supposed to be either contributing to the community, right? Or buy a membership, right? So if we look at a V Experts, for example, I like V Experts. They give a lot to the community. So they're giving their time and energy to the community. And 1 out of 10 community members give a lot, right? That's what the V Expert app is for. That's what the program's for. And we reward them for that, right? And we thank them, right?
Right.
If you don't have time, you're not that big a community person, but you like the community, but you're not gonna be writing blogs all once a month, and you're doing your day job. You like the community. Then, buy a VMUG membership. Why? Because it gives VMUG some money to do things. We get to do fun things. We have the free conferences at user cons. We have, a bunch of stuff we do.
Discounted Explorer.
Right. And so, $200 membership per year is a great way to give back to the community when you're not going to be a V Expert. You're not going to be blogging. And to that end, Corey, maybe I should let you make the announcement on what you're going to be doing for V Experts next year, because it ties into this narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kind of covered. I mean, you kind of covered the majority of it, but yeah, in 2025, the V Expert program, what we're going to do is for licensing, you will have to have your VCP for VCF, as well as a VMUG Advantage membership, but we're going to be giving a free membership to VMUG Advantage in 2025, and so so that's as a reward, thank you gift to V Experts.
Right. So to my narrative of giving back, right? Like, if you're giving back to the ecosystem and we're awarding you a V Expert, then you shouldn't have to pay that $210 a year, right? You should get a VMUG Advantage membership out of that. Then you can go set for your test and get your $20,000 home lab license as well, right? So for V Experts, you won't have to buy a VMUG Advantage. We're going to give you one for free, right, in 2025. Yep. And then what I would say is we're going to look at for the 2026 apps, how well did you do? Did you promote VMUG Advantage? Did you do things? Because I have a feeling we're going to try to do that every year, but we're going to actually reserve that to see, what did you give? A lot of people, apply for V Expert, but they barely do a couple blogs, that kind of thing. So if you want your free VMUG Advantage in 2026 and 2027, then you should be also promoting the community, right? You should be promoting VMUG Advantage. You should be getting your people to also purchase the VMUG Advantage. I don't want to say it's a commission system, but it's like kind of for me, it's like, sure, we're happy to give you VMUG Advantage year after year for free, but you need to be earning it, right? So promote VMUG Advantage to everybody
Yeah,
you know.
there's just so much value behind VMUG.
Right.
Period. Right. Like it's just overwhelming amount of value between the networking and the opportunities to go to the various shows, the discount at Explore. I mean, it's just tons of information.
Right. So
Really
we have been watching feedback, and we expected some feedback, right? We did work with the VCF leadership, and said like, hey, you're moving from absolutely free, right? Or not free. You buy the VMUG Advantage, $200, right? Or 10, and then you get you get all the licenses, right? So we're going to get feedback that now you have to also pass a VCP certification, right? So we understood that, and we understood that that we were going to hear that. We had conversations with the leadership about that. We also had conversations with marketing about that. I've had conversations with William Lamb about it. I've had conversations with Michael Roy about it, and what it came down to is, no, we want everybody to get their VCP certification. In fact, one of the conversations me and you have had is like, maybe you have to be VCP certified in order to apply for VExpert, right? We've never had a technology skill gate on VExpert, but Hawk and Broadcom, they really, really want you to learn VCF, right? And they want it, we want to demonstrate that you are VCF certified. Like there have been tons of customers, probably 80% of our customers do not use vSAN, do not use NSX, don't even know how to use it. Right. So they're like, look, we know that 30% do use it, but the other 70%, we want them to come up to speed, get to know it, use it, because that is going to be our one product going forward. Right now, they still have VVF, and they're still selling vSphere Standard Edition and some other things, but where we're going, right? Like it's VVF, right? And it's one button, you buy it, you install it, it runs. So I think that's where they're headed. And VCP Cert is a good way to do that. And again, it's $41 a year over 3 years. It's a reasonable price considering you get to put on your resume. You do learn more technology, right? And maybe you're not going to use it in your enterprise. Maybe you're just going to use vSphere. But I think that it's a fair deal. $20,000 license for $41 a year, plus you have to spend a few days learning. Right, which is not the end of the world. So most of us have already had these conversations. We've already had these conversations with Europe. We knew we were going to get, and for me, I feel like I had 40 likes on the post, and I had 2 or 3 people, or maybe 4 people that complained, or not even complained, but said, "Hey, how am I going to learn? What am I going to do? This is a chicken before the egg." And the only thing that I come back and say is, "Well, it's not that hard to learn. The test is not that hard," and this is a reward. The program isn't really designed to teach you how to pass the VCP-VCF. That's not what this program is about. This program is about a reward. The reward for 1, passing your VCP cert, 2, being a VExpert, 3, purchasing a VMUG Advantage, right? So you do those things and you get a reward for accomplishing those, those check boxes, right? Or those gates. It's like playing a video game.
Yeah.
And, you got to get through all the check boxes. You don't get to level up because you want to, right? There's work to level up. And I think that's what they're saying. And I could see maybe in a year or two, maybe it'll change, right? Maybe they'll relax on that, or, once they get a certain percentage of people that are trained on VCF. Now, the other thing to know is every year you want your new license, you do not have to take another certification, right? Your certification is good for 3 years.
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
You do have to purchase your Advantage every year, or you can just purchase it's a service, so you can re-up it, right? It'll just automatically charge to you. And that's what I'd say is like most corporations, most even small corporations, you can expense a couple $100, right? So really this is about needing to study and demonstrate that you are, smart enough to pass your VCP-VCF.
You should be able to if you are, you're using the majority of VMware products, right?
Well, and I know that people at Explore Barcelona, when we announced it, we had the cert. You could just go take it, and so people
Yeah.
went and took it. Right? They
Yeah.
passed. They
Right.
didn't even study for it. They just now, in fairness, they might know about VC. They might know about VSAN. They might know about NSX. I personally haven't looked at it, but we did have the education team do an analysis. And they came back and said it's pretty light. The most you're going to have to do is spend 40 hours studying if you don't know anything. So that's not the end of the world, right? It's, it can be done. The good part about it, Corey, and I know we've dealt with all the licenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you just get one license, right? Many in the portal,
Yeah.
in the expert portal, we had like a stream of licenses, like
Yeah.
keys and all that.
You have
Right.
no idea the pain on how many SKUs there were just for vSphere.
Right.
And you had to have the right SKU. I'm talking like 1,000 SKUs for vSphere, right?
Right.
And you had to find the correct one and then submit. And I'm submitting, 40 different requests for 40 licenses, and you get, 2/3 of them correct. And it was a long process.
Yeah. Yeah. Tommy Grott, how's it going? Just finally got over to chat. Yeah.
No, Tommy jumped in.
Yeah. Tommy Grott.
Oh, there we go. Hey, Tommy.
Yeah. So, that's what I'd say. I think it actually will be easier over time, right?
Yeah.
And then a cert every 3 years, not the end of the world. Go get that. But now you got all the bits. Oh, and I forgot to mention one other thing. We're doing an integration with Broadcom backend so that it will just be in your portal. You'll have, as an Advantage member, you're going to have a login ID that will be kind of your community ID, community login. And, it won't be your site ID for Broadcom Corp. It will be, your own login that will then have a portal tab that will allow you to see your product and your licenses right in the Broadcom support portal, right? So you don't get any support with this license, mind you, but you do come in the same way that you would normally work with our support portal. And then you're just going to have an extra tab. I don't think they named it yet. They're still working on this, but it will be Advantage. And yes, you can use any email you want because you're your community ID. So they're going to pick that up from the email from the VCP cert education vendor. So when you come in to get your certification, you set up an account over there. So they're going to tie that off to the certification vendor, right? Which if you've ever taken a cert, I think it's a company called Alpine, but I don't think we expose that. You just come in and create a user ID, and then you come in, and that'll also connect to your Advantage. So we're going to connect Advantage to Alpine to the Broadcom support portal. We're building that right now. And and then we're tracking any kind of changes that happen to licenses in vSphere 9, and that we're going to track that, make sure that all this works, which is better than what we had on the vExpert portal.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Now we did show them the vExpert portal, and we said, okay, this is what it looks like, and here's how we do it. And so we did demo that, and they were like, okay, we know what we have to do. Now the good news is you get a free Advantage membership, and by the way, Advantage comes with more than just licenses. They have discount to Explore. They've got discount to other products, and they have a handful of
courses,
features.
all kinds of things.
Yeah, they get a backend log into some other thing, I think. So if you go look at VMUG Advantage, you not only get the licenses and that you're going to get for vExpert, but you get a handful of other niceties, and we're looking to expand that as well, so that your Advantage ends up being something that not only do you get VCF, but Hawk wants it to be even better, right? So when I talk about 2025 budget going up, some of that stuff is going to hit the
Advantage membership.
Yeah, Advantage membership, and
yeah.
And
vExperts are going to get it for free,
right? And then I don't even want to say. I'm not allowed to say. I know some stuff that if I announced it, everybody would be like, oh, that's definitely worth it now. But I can't say what it is. But all I could say is one of the things we want to do for 2025 is make sure that every possible community member can come to Explore. So, okay, so you figure that out, right? Like, well, if we're adding more features to Advantage, what could you imagine we would do to make it really easy for you to come to Explore? Given that Advantage only gives you a $100 discount now, maybe there's something else we're doing there, right? And like I said, I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, but I would say that we're going to be adding more and more features into Advantage. And then I think we're going to make more and more features required to be VCF certified. I'm not telling a joke when I say that if it were up to me, if Corey would let me, I'd make every VExpert that applied be VCP certified with VCF, so that we just set a standard for now. If you're going to be in community, you're going to engage, you're going to be a VExpert. We never had John Troyer used to yell at me, we're making everybody a VExpert. You don't even have to be an expert to know anything about our products, and you could still be a VExpert. And I'm like, yeah, because VExperts are supposed to be social evangelists. They're supposed to be influencers. And, and even though it says expert, it doesn't mean you're an expert. It just means you're an influencer, right?
Right.
But arguably, we could have put something on it, like a requirement to pass your VCP, so that people that are VExperts actually have a home lab that are spending time with the products and know the products. And it's probably time to do that, right?
I like doing it the other way, right? Where they bring them in as a VExpert, and if you want licenses and you want to be, in a deeper part of the community, then you go get your VCF, right? Because then you've got the communication platform to ask others, like, for help on the VCP or what to expect. I see it a little bit differently.
All right. Well, and that's why it's going to stay the way Corey wants it. I said if it was up to me, I might be a little bit more stricter on VCP certification, but Corey is the man. So if he says no, he'd rather do it this way, that's what we're doing. So that's what we are doing. So there you go. Tony Foster mentions in chat here that Brad Peters did a nice write-up on his testing experience. You can go to https://broad-cloud.nl. So brod-cloud.nl/VCP-VCF-administrator-2024-exam-experience. But I assume you just go to his main blog, broad-cloud.nl. You should be able to find that, where he writes up his experience testing. And, I haven't read the article yet, but I assume it's favorable. I heard several people going, oh yeah, I took it. Wasn't that hard. Now, we talk a little bit about marketing. We don't necessarily mean we should be marketing that the test is easy, right? But I think it actually is. So, but if the VCF people find out that that's what I did, I made it an easy test requirement. They wanted me to make it like, get 3 of this 10 VCAP certificate, because they were like, it's a $20,000 license. I'm like, no. Yeah, I was arguing with them till the 2 days before the announcement. I finally I just convinced them. I said, you guys are crazy. We just need to, have an easy way to get this. So yeah, so that's good. So I'm excited about that. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna take mine. Go get my my free license. And I have been working, talking to William Lamb and trying to figure out VMUG to put together a blog article, just like Bart Peters did, to show you how to do it. It's not that hard, right? And where can you take an HOL to learn what you need to learn? So there already were online study guides for all the VCPs. So I'm sure the VCP-VCF will get an online study guide as well. And, once you have that, then I can't go to that link. But Tony,
here, if you go to tinyurl/VCP-VCF, it'll take you to it.
URL/
tinyurl.com.
Yeah.
/VCP-VCF.
VCF. Very nice.
I'll drop
there you go. Broad Cloud. All right. That's what it is. Broad Cloud. Yeah. All right. That's his blog. Now I got to find the article. On blog. Let's see. VCF administration exam experience. Here it is. Let's see what he has to say. Yeah.
Come on.
There
we go.
Well, he just talks about everything that's going to be there, right? So it is a nice, what's in there. Minimal qualified candidates.
So if you jump down to the conclusion,
yeah, that's what I need to find.
You'll actually see his final thoughts. I'm sorry, that's what it's called. You'll actually see his personal opinion of it and what he thought of the exam.
Indeed, a welcome to development. He likes it. All right, that's good. Good man.
There's a Broadcom article out there also that I just came across that goes over, you know, what's in the exam. Not exactly what's in the exam, but what you need to study for. So there's a lot of resources in there if you just go Google VCF VCP certification.
He says the exam consists of relatively few questions in comparison to other VMware VCP exams. He says make sure you pay attention to each question, right? Because if you have less questions, then the percentage, if you miss stuff, it's the higher percentage, right? Good article though. Repeat the URL one more time. tinyurl.com/VCP
VCF.
There you go. Right. And I have asked, we're going to have Brad Thompkins from Advantage come on next week and talk about what they're going to put together, because the Advantage program is a program and they're still calling it the eval experience. But the eval experience is now going to include studying for your VCP, right? So they're going to put together some study materials themselves, have some chapter meetings, have some live streams. So VMUG is going to walk you through that experience. And so ideally, everybody should get through this and be happy campers, because now you got a 3-year license for VCF, and everybody won, and you can put VCP-VCF certs on your resume, right? So
yep, absolutely.
That's also good. So that's kind of what we want to talk about today. That's in the news. I'm actually excited about it because for a while I wasn't sure anybody was going to be able to get one, but now you can get it, and there is a path to have home lab licenses supported. And I did talk to Mark Hubert about what you need to do to run it on a NUC. And the short of this is, if you manage to make it all the way to the end of this show, to be able to run it on a NUC, you don't need that much. You do need to get a 500 gig SSD, but I think I forget the acronym. It's not SSD, it's SCME something. It's basically your storage. You need 500 gig of storage. And then you also need to use that for your cache, right? To use tiered memory. So you want to set up tiered memory. You really want to have almost a terabyte of SSD, right? So that you can split it. You can split it up. Part of it is used for your expansion memory, for tiered memory, and the other part is used for local storage for your VMs. So there's a way to do that. Somebody was telling me about it. You just get one 750 gig SSD, you put it in your slot, and it's not an SSD slot, it's a different slot, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You put that in, you split it 500 for tiered memory and 250 gig for your VMs. And then you have to boot off a USB. So you boot ESX off a USB, and that's the deal, right? So now you have a hard drive, which is, you're booting off your ESX, and your tiered memory runs on part of the SSD, and your VM storage is in the other part. And that's enough to run, because tiered memory doubles your memory capacity. So if you allocate 500 gig, then you'll have like a terabyte for VCF to run, and that's enough to run VCF. Will it run slow? Yeah, it's going to run slow, right? Because you're using tiered memory, and you don't really have that much memory, but it's enough to run, and he says it runs fine. So you will be able to run this on a NUC. So next year's lab, we're going to do for Explorer and so forth, and some other events that are going to happen. We haven't announced the entire event strategy next year, but when we do, we will be doing VCF on NUCs with private AI layered on top of it. So
that's cool.
Should be fun. Yeah, it should be fun. And so everybody should be able to learn how to do that. And for $300 or $400, even though I said most labs are $750, if you want to do it on a NUC, you can probably get away with $400 US to make that happen. So we'll take take people through that and have some fun with that. That should be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's the news. That's the wrap up from Explorer. I'm glad you guys still listen to the podcast, and hopefully this clears up some of the logic behind, the VCF free license, which really is not quite free, but what we tell people is actually it's free from our perspective, because we only require you to go buy something from VMUG Advantage. We don't get any money from that. Broadcom doesn't. VMware by Broadcom. And we also don't get any money for the testing. We're giving you the testing at cost. That's the 50% off. The 50% off was you get that coupon from Advantage. It's 50% off your test. That's our cost. So really, we are giving you a 20 grand license from our perspective for free, because we're not making any money on it, right? We're just giving it away. And all we're requiring is you to jump through a couple hoops, right? So,
yeah, and I'll have an email going out tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
Mountain Time.
Clarifying the 2025 VExpert program.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Which honestly, this is the way I understand it. This is the only place you're going to be able to get a free software from Broadcom, right? That this is it.
Yeah, this is it.
There's not an education program now. There's not going to be VExpert giving away licenses. There's a couple other places you used to be able to get free licenses. Even the partner ecosystem, it's going to be hard to get free licenses from the partner ecosystem. So this is going to be the one place that if you want to get, use our software for free, and you're not a Broadcom employee. If you're a Broadcom employee, they have a portal that lets you get software. But if you're not, this is going to be the way that we're going to support, in the Broadcom portal to get your free stuff. And I think it's the first time that Broadcom has ever given away free stuff. They're not a big free. This was a big deal for us internally to get Broadcom to even know how to support it and do it. So, but we got it there.
Somewhere back in the chat here, I think it was Tony Foster asked if he can use a Gmail address for VMUG.
Yeah, whatever your email address is that you're using as part of your VMUG or your certification email address, we're going to support that. So that was one of the hurdles we had to come across, which is, what do you mean we don't support anything but corporate mail? We're going to drop all corporate mail. And we got them to support email addresses that are supported by VMUG and email addresses that are supported by the certification vendor.
Excellent.
Yeah, so there you go. Mr. Foster, barbecue. Got any? Are you allowed to talk now? Are you off your meetings?
I've been able to talk. She was actually acting up on me earlier, so I kept trying to talk earlier, and it wouldn't
let you in. That happens. I gotta say, I like your glasses. Those are looking pretty sharp. I see you on video because we're on TalkShoe, but pretty nice looking glasses there, bro.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. It's winter time. Does anybody barbecue in winter? You know what I had? I had in a restaurant the other day. I had grilled artichoke, and oh man, those are so good. And I tried to make grilled artichoke this summer, and I have not mastered it. I tried on charcoal and just burnt the living tar out of them. Then I tried it in a smoker, and it smoked, but it wasn't quite the same. I haven't figured out how they're doing these grilled artichokes, but I had some, and they were delicious.
Interesting. I'll have to look that up. I smoked a couple ribeyes the other night, and we made artichokes just on the stove. But I'll have to look on how to smoke an artichoke.
They not smoke it, they grill it, so it's a little bit blackened, it tastes like charcoal-y, right? So I did it on Kingsford charcoal, and I just burnt the living tar out of it, right? I couldn't manage to cook. So I think that I went on the web and looked, and they say you have to boil the artichoke first, right? Then you got to put oil. Then you got to put oil and salt and seasoning on it, and then you put it on the charcoal, and then you just lightly grill it on the charcoal. But for whatever reason, I didn't boil it enough, or I don't know what I did. But in the end, it was crispy.
All the recipes I've been seeing here, it looks like they're cutting them in half.
They're cutting it in half. They boil them. They cut them in half. And then you put oil on it and salt and pepper seasoned to whatever. And then you got to put them on the charcoal. But how do you, I put them on charcoal for a little bit and they dried out, but they didn't have any charcoal flavor, right? Then I put them, I did it again. Next time I put them on, I left them longer so it would have better charcoal flavor, and then they just burnt, right? So maybe
Yeah, I think you got to move the charcoal to one side and then put
Mhm.
them on the other side so they get the
smoke?
charcoal, but they
Yeah.
get less heat.
Yeah, I'm also guessing that you probably need a fairly hot flame for it, and right before you're finished, you literally sear them across the hot flame.
Yeah.
Sear them on the other side.
Yeah, maybe.
And,
Yeah.
You get the result.
I want to go to this restaurant that I had them and just say, hey, could you guys show me how you did that? Because the other thing is, I don't think they have a charcoal grill out in the back of the restaurant that they're doing this on. I think they must have a recipe that maybe they just have a spray, a charcoal flavor.
Yeah,
spray.
they could be using that.
Yeah. That they char them up and spray some happy yummy flavor on it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. I did make a tri-tip yesterday on the grill. Now that I mentioned it, I was like, I went out last night and put a piece of tri-tip on and grilled it up, just salt and pepper. Not too bad. Pretty good.
Nice. Sirloins was the last thing I cooked on the grill. That was about a week ago.
What did you get? Sirloin?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Nice sirloin steak.
I was expecting peanut butter with celery or something. You always do these obscure things, right? Like
No,
right.
Barbecuing crickets or something.
Right. That's
would
great.
be really good.
Yeah.
I should do barbecue crickets sometime.
I've smoked frog legs and rattlesnake.
Really good.
I've had frog legs. They tasted like my grandpa's pond. Yeah, there you go.
Oh no, the frog legs lamb meat are delicious.
Yeah.
I use a sweet chipotle seasoning.
Yeah. You
Amazing.
shouldn't. I said it tasted like my grandpa's pond. They weren't from my grandfather's pond, but I feel like when I was eating them, like I feel like I'm eating my grandpa's pond.
You got to cook them right.
Well, they're like it's a little bit like rabbit, has a little bit of a flavor to it.
The rattlesnake wasn't very good.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't tried that desert animal rattlesnake. Yeah. All right. We're at the top of the hour. We've ran over by 13 minutes. Thanks for hanging out with us. Everybody have a great rest of your week. We're going to bring Brad Thompkins in next week, and we're going to get the VMUG perspective on VMUG Advantage and what they're going to have to help you pass your VCF certification. Awesome. So then everybody go to some barbecue and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.
Recording paused.
Awesome.